Welcome to Information Systems 102. My name is Matt Williamson, and I'll be presenting the material for this course.
The first thing you will want to do in this class is to read over the course syllabus. This has all the policies and the procedures for the course. I will mention that it does vary by instructor, whoever's teaching it. They may have different grading schemes or different policies for different things, but please make sure you read over it. It's going to have information about the instructor and how to contact the instructor when they're available. It'll talk about the exact topics that will be mentioned in the course, the grading scale, policies, procedures, schedules, deadlines, all that. It has pretty much all the information you need to know about what you're going to be doing in this class. So please make sure you take some time to read over the syllabus. Now, this is an online course, so I do recommend that you make sure you keep up on all the materials. For this type of class, it's more hands-on than some of the other classes. We'll be doing a lot of different examples for writing programs in Visual Basic. So with that said, there may not actually be a book that goes along with it. Some professors may include a book, some may not. Once again, I refer to the syllabus to let you know or to determine whether or not there is a book for the class. Now, if there is a book, make sure you get it and make sure you read all the material in there, because that stuff can appear on assignments and exams. Now, if there's not a book, then make sure that you are doing the lecture videos. I mean, you should be watching the lecture videos anyway, and make sure you're keeping up on all the videos and doing any of the tasks that you're given. Because if you fall behind, it is going to be problematic later on. So please make sure that you do read any materials that you're assigned to read. Make sure that you're doing the hands-on exercises that you're asked to do. Now, what are you going to be doing in this class? Well, the coursework is going to vary by instructor in terms of how much and how much each one is worth, but there are certain things that you'll be doing regardless of who's teaching the class. There will be lecture quizzes. So every lecture video, there will be a small quiz afterwards. It's like 5 questions. They're really simple. It's just to make sure that you are watching the videos, you are taking notes. You're allowed to use reference materials. You're allowed to use your notes. You're allowed to go back to the video if there's something that you missed for the quiz. It's just to make sure that you are watching the videos. That's all it is. Now, there will be some homework assignments. These could be just simple handwritten assignments or typed, since this is an online class, just to make sure you understand the concepts of Visual Basic. It may be to do some stuff with programs, but there will be some types of programming projects where you will implement programs in Visual Basic. So there will be a combination of these homework assignments and projects. As far as how many you'll be doing and how much each one's worth, like I said, that will vary by the instructor, but be prepared to write some programs in this class. Of course, there will be some exams. As far as how many, that's going to vary. There could be just one midterm exam. There could be 2 exams throughout the course. And then, of course, there will be a final exam at the end of the course. But these are the main things that you should expect to do for this class. Now, it's important to make sure you keep up. With online classes, it's very easy to fall behind and just try to do all the work later on. But there are deadlines. You need to make sure that you adhere to those deadlines. Now, if you don't turn in that stuff, there is going to be some type of penalty for turning in the coursework late. Now, as far as what that penalty is, that's going to vary by instructor. Some will do like 10% for every day. Some will do half off or something. Some may not even accept any late work. So please make sure you do read over the syllabus to see what your instructor expects or what your instructor's policy is for turning in late work. The simple thing is just to make sure you keep up on your work and turn everything on time. That's the simple answer to this. And then the last thing I'm going to mention, I hate talking about it, but it is worth mentioning for an online class. Please do not cheat in this class. It does not do you any good to try to look up stuff online or try to get code or answers from other classmates or friends. It doesn't do you any good. When it comes time to taking the exams, there are mechanisms in place to make sure that you cannot Google search the answer while taking the exam. So you do need to make sure you understand the material. So if you're just getting information from everyone and not really doing any of your own work, it's going to be a problem when you're actually doing the exams in the final exam. So please make sure that you do not cheat in here. The penalties for cheating, they vary by instructors. Some will give you like a warning, some will give a 0 on the assignment, and if you do it enough, you will end up failing the class. So you don't want to put yourself in that position. I wouldn't say this is a very difficult course. There's a good amount of work, but there really isn't a need to cheat in this class. So what are we going to be doing in this class? Well, we're going to be learning how to write and run programs using a language called Visual Basic. So what is Visual Basic? Well, it is a programming language, but it's specifically designed to create programs for Microsoft Windows. So it's just a language to make Windows programs. You can't use Visual Basic to make programs in Linux or for Macs. It's just Windows programs only. Now, the term Visual Basic, we can think of two parts to this. So the word visual here means that we have some method that's used to create whatever the user sees. So what we're saying here is we're writing programs that users can actually see. It's not like console type programming. So like, for example, we're going to be writing programs that involve the graphical user interface, or what are called, it's called a GUI. So we're going to be writing a lot of GUI programs that the user is going to be able to see very easily on a Windows environment. Now the term basic refers to the basic programming language. So this is an actual programming language that stands for Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction Code. And this is actually a very popular and widely used programming language. You may not have heard about that much compared to other languages like Java, C, C++, Python, and so forth. But this particular language was around back in the 80s, I think even before then, and it was very popular then, and it's still very popular now just because of how simplistic it is. And it's just become even more popular, especially the fact that we can use BASIC for implementing Windows programs. Now, the way we're going to go about it here is a little different than what you're used to, like in Computer Science 121 or even Computer Science 122. We're not going to necessarily be writing pure code. We're not going to be writing console code that just like a little box pops up and you just see text input and output. Instead, we're going to be creating these visual elements like text boxes, combo boxes, drop-down menus, pictures, forms, those kind of things. And then we're going to write code that interacts with those specific elements. So, for example, I can create a button. And if I click on the button, what's going to happen? So we're going to be trying to handle specific events, such as mouse clicks. So if I click on a particular button, what happens when I click on that button? Do I store some information? Do I print something? Or maybe I have some checkboxes. What happens if I click on a checkbox and then I do something else? So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff with forms, for example, where we're going to be having the user enter some information in different text boxes and dialog boxes, and then we're going to have mouse clicks and other different buttons that the user is going to interact with the program, and we're going to write code to actually do something whenever an event happens. So you can actually think of Visual Basic as more of an event-driven programming language where we write code to handle specific events.